My name is Germana Ravanelli. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, a mind-body healer, a personal trainer, a nutritional therapist. I was taught that health is harmonizing the body, the mind, and the spirit. Hi, my name is Germana Ravanelli. I come to you from Vancouver Island, and I'm OBC. This video is about boundaries around our finances. And finances for a lot of people are really kind of a scary conversation. There's a lot of shame, there's a lot of secrets, there's a lot of lack of communication or lack of information, and a lot of us just get into these messes with money. And this will just give you a few different ideas, ways to save money that I think is really important. The number one challenge for all of us is to understand to make money work for us more than we work for it. Sounds simple. Most people, when you go to, our education system doesn't teach you how to be someone who is an entrepreneur that runs their own business. We're actually taught to work for other people. We're taught to work for the government, which means we're always, they call them golden handcuffs. You're like, bang, this is all I'm ever going to make. And then what can happen there in that context is then we want to feel good. So then we do things that maybe feel good temporarily. We might buy things that we like, but they don't actually make our life better. And so we might buy a doodad, a toy, or a pretty car or dress or whatever, and then ask yourself as you get through with that, did that actually make my life better, or was it just a quick spendgasm thrill? And a lot of us, because of the convenience of our world, credit cards, the phone, all of it, we just buy stuff that we don't actually need. And what you'll learn is, there's 3 different phases of life: acquiring things, enjoying things, organizing things, and then getting rid of things. And then once you get past a certain age range, most of the stuff you have you don't want, you'll be getting rid of it so your children don't have to get rid of it when you die or you end up at a senior's home if that happens. So what I'm going to offer is just a few ideas. One of the big ones is, instead of going through the drive-thrus and spending $5, $10, whatever on the tea or the coffee or the dessert in a cup, what would happen? How much money could you save if you actually made that and put it in a thermos or a metal container that you could drink it when it's, 2 hours later in your car or at work? If you actually ran the numbers, that in itself, let's say you went through a drive-through 3 times a week, that could save you about $200 that goes plunk in your bank account, plunk in your retirement fund, or plunk in paying down another debt. Another example that is really important, like say we all buy food, most of us buy food. Instead of just going in, hungry and tired and irritated and just buying whatever you want, if you actually make a list and write it down, you're more likely going to spend about 60% less than you would if you just went in there and went, oh, what about this? And what about that? Because now you know what you need, you get it, and you leave, and then you bring it home. Now you've got that structure. And that also allows you to have the other freedom, homemade meals. Instead of going to a restaurant, what would happen if you and your friends all made, a meal each, and you all went to someone's house and shared that meal? You might save $45 or $50 or $30 and spend more time together and get out of the habit of spending money that doesn't really give you a reward back in the big picture. And I'm not saying not to go to restaurants, but if you have credit card debt and you're, struggling with debt, one of the first things that I would suggest that you stop doing is going to restaurants and going through drive-thrus. Another thing to consider is, let's say you have a credit card debt, and let's say you owe $30,000 on that credit card. The interest payment, if my calculations are close on that $30,000, I could be wrong. I believe if it's 29%, about $900 interest a month. That's a lot of money. So then if you found a way to get rid of that or go to a debt consolidation place, there's a place called Four Pilars. And if you qualify, you pay, I think, 20 to 30% of the debt, and it wipes out your debt, all of it. And then you just don't play around with credit cards for a while. and you can, recover your credit score. That's another way to save money, because a lot of people are drowning in debt. They have maybe they're renting and the cost of rent is ridiculous. They've got their cell phone. Another thing I did with my cell phone, I was with TELUS. I think it was paying $90, which is a lot. I went to them and said, you're either going to give me a better deal or I'm leaving. And they hooked me up with their affiliate, which is the same company, Kudos, and spent $40 for the same service. Well, that's $50 in my pocket. That's an example of just going, asking the right question. Is that the best that I can do with my money? One of the things that I also noticed when I was being asked by my accountant to see what we got for time here, to find out how much interest I was paying on my car payments. I bought a Prius because I don't want to pay extra gas money and I don't want to complain and all that. So I went to the bank and said, how much of that payment is interest? I was paying $460 a month. And the woman says, oh, only $220 of that is interest. And I'm like, are you kidding me? $220 out of the $460 was interest. That was what the bank was saying. Thank you very much, Mrs. Robinelli. And I went into another account, paid off the car, and I took the amount of money that I was paying on that car every month, and 220 of it was being thrown in the toilet, and I put it into part of my contribution for being able to retire one day. So those are pretty simple things, and a lot of us just aren't taught to challenge it because we're afraid, we have shame, we're embarrassed. I wasn't taught about money. I took a lot of different training about it, and I lost a lot of money doing what I thought was helpful. I would spend money and buy things to make myself feel better, but then when I got the credit card bill, I would freak because I was like, how am I going to pay this? And so that just creates a cycle of self-shaming, self-guilting, and financial trauma. If you happen to own your own home, one of the best ways to get out of that is to find a way to double your payments. I paid off my home after 7 years of double payments. And people go, oh, aren't you lucky? I'm like, I'll tell you what, it mattered to me because I'm some physical disabilities, got some autoimmune issues, and I'm self-employed. You know what? That's a lot of stress for one person to manage. So I paid $4,000 a month for years to pay off my house. And I'm not saying that braggingly. I mean, I was so grateful. And, now, it's the taxes, right? It's everyone, something coming from all these different places. But learning to have some mastery, getting your credit card debt under control, like going to a Four Pillars model, will save you could have $120,000 of debt and get out of it pretty quick. You pay a small service fee, but then they pay off your debt and you pay like 30 cents on the dollar. That's huge. That's you protecting yourself and having something in the future. Also, not getting used to using your credit card. Get rid of it. Put it away. Put it in a glass of water and freeze it. So you have to really think about it. If you're shopping online, leave the product in the cart for 48 hours before you actually buy it. And you ask yourself, do I really need this? Or is this compulsion? And, most of us don't use cash anymore, but you can also use your debit card because then you're spending the money that's in the account. You're not spending it on hope and hoping that there's more money than there is. Like one thing I noticed with my behavior was I would think I was spending, say, $2,500 on my credit card. And then when I would look to see what the real number was, I had overspent $3,000 a month consistently. And I thought, that's scary. I don't think I'm alone. People just hide it. So these are some examples on how you can, save yourself some money. You could probably save yourself $30, $40, $50, $150,000 in a couple of years just by doing these little micro changes. Don't overpay on your phone. Don't get stuck paying 30% interest on your credit card bill. Get rid of it. Put some money away for yourself. Thanks. I hope that you got something that will give you some tools and some power to take care of yourself going forward. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a wonderful day.